The demerger of ITC Hotels from the ITC group, I wouldn't say it took everyone by surprise, but this was something that no one really expected to happen in the way it happened. Now, what exactly is a demerger and why was the ITC Hotel vertical separated from the main ITC group? ITC, one of the most trusted brands in India, is, you know what does it stand for? ITC is Indian Tobacco Company, and you would be surprised, the biggest chunk of revenue of ITC does not come from hotels, does not come from paper products, does not come from FMCG goods, but it comes from cigarettes. Now, cigarettes have for the longest time been perceived as a sin good, as in people who consume cigarettes are considered to be sinners, and companies which manufacture cigarettes are also considered to be acting against public interest. Well, ITC as a group did realize that if we continue to produce cigarettes and God forbid tomorrow there is some sort of a change in the public mindset, or if there are certain rules that are imposed by the government, the future of the business would be questioned, which is why ITC diversified into multiple businesses. I'm sure you guys have used the classmate notebooks and the geometry box for instruments when you were in school. You know who manufactures that? ITC. There are so many of you who consume those bingo mad angles and who consume, Sunfeast and cream biscuits and all of these products. And those yippee noodles and God knows what else. You know who makes that? Again, ITC. So ITC, of course, is there in paper and paper products. It is there in the fast moving consumer goods segment, and I'm sure you are aware, and some of you might have even visited ITC hotels. ITC hotels have become the epitome of luxury. But if you really pay attention to the kind of business that the hotel industry is, in a lot of ways, in this entire conglomerate, in this multi-product offering that ITC had, ITC hotels always stood as the odd one out. Now, ITC has a long history of being a professionally managed company with not too much interference from the promoters. So, ITC hotels and other companies were always under the same umbrella of Indian Tobacco Company, that is ITC. Now, why was there a change and why was a need felt to now demerge ITC hotels and set it up as a separate company and getting it listed on the stock exchange? Now, the hotel industry, the hotel business, this is not restaurants, let me tell you, this is hotel industry. And hotels are a capital intensive sector, which means you need a large amount of capital investment to run these hotels. And mind you, if you have ever visited an ITC hotel or seen one from outside, you would realize that these are luxury hotels. These are not your regular inns and other rooms, where people go and stay. These hotels offer a luxury experience. To run a luxury hotel on that level, of course, there is a lot of capital intensive investment that is required, which is why in a lot of ways, ITC hotels had become, not the cash cow, but the opposite of cash cow for ITC. It had become the cash guzzler of the group. It was eating up into a lot of cash because it required heavy capital investment. Also, ITC wanted to put across ITC hotels as a pure hospitality stock. Now, ITC did realize that the amount of intensive capital investment might not be the best way to succeed in the long run. So, what ITC had started doing is they were not building hotels themselves, they were running hotels which were built by someone else. Of course, they had and continue to have their own flagship hotels, but they were also increasing their presence in the market through this method. Now, ITC wanted to separate the odd one out from the entire group and set it up as a separate business. Also, ITC hotels are not just luxury, they are sustainable luxury, which means the focus is on sustainable development along with offering luxury to its customers. And in a world where ESG is becoming the buzzword, ITC felt that it could have a separate entity altogether which focused on responsible luxury, and the odd one out could also be separated from the other verticals in the overall group, which is why ITC Hotels was demerged by the ITC group as a separate entity. So of course they had to file a request for that in the Kolkata High Court. It was approved, and just like that, On the 1st of January 2025, ITC Hotels was demerged. People who were already holders of ITC shares got shares in ITC Hotels in proportion to the number of shares they already held, and right now ITC Hotels stock is trading independently on the stock exchange. And by the way, as on this date, the stock is doing pretty well for itself. Well, if you want to know more about other developments in the business world, please follow our YouTube channel and do let us know in the comment section what would you want to know next.